FA Cup replays have been scrapped. It was announced by the FA in conjunction with the Premier League. You would have thought all stakeholders, although the reaction of the Football League has been interesting, having an emergency meeting. So
are they? That's what's happening, is it?
They're not completely happy with what's been announced today.
No.
A lot of people have been getting in touch this afternoon. John the Evertonian says scrapping replays from the third round is scandalous. From the first round, it's absolutely criminal.
If you're Cray Valley Paper Mills, and even if you draw lowly Torquay United or Forest Green Rovers or someone, that 2,000 or 3,000 people that go and see you that Saturday, that will keep your club going, and then you just expand that up the leagues.
And a bit like Paul at Marine said, when you have a cup run, more people come. I think they've basically doubled their attendance, even though in the big cup game they had nobody could go because it was during
Is it to do with the expanded Champions League? Is that what they're trying to do?
Let's get a considered voice on this, because we were thinking who would we like to speak to, and there's not many people that have commentated and watched football at the very top level for most of their life, but also been absolutely steeped in grassroots as a coach. And that's Martin Tyler. Worked at Woking, at Hampton and Richmond, so many non-league clubs as a coach. He joins us now. Good afternoon, Martin.
Afternoon, Martin.
Yeah, good afternoon, guys. I'm just going through my archives to find out the last team that played in a first-round FA Cup replay, also in the Champions League that season. It seems to me that their priorities have gone slightly awry.
It does seem odd, doesn't it, Martin? I mean, I think that there may have been a push for replays being scrapped from the third round, but it does seem fairly nonsensical that they're from the first round, especially as the reason given in this statement is the expanded European Cup competitions.
Well, it looks like the elite clubs are having more and more power, and they want to make more space in which to flourish. But I would just point out to you, Paul, Spurs have played 35 games this season, over 8 months. 35 games. That doesn't seem an overcrowded schedule. And the teams at the top, I think when they look perhaps at Paris Saint-Germain didn't play at the weekend and they go and get a result at Barcelona, a lot of countries clear the decks for the elite clubs to help them win. But that doesn't help the other teams that they're playing against in their domestic football. Someone's fixture was postponed. Probably somebody lost some gate money from that particular weekend. And that's the sort of route we seem to be heading to. I did the very last FA Cup semi-final replay, but that was in the last century, 1999, the famous Manchester United against Arsenal game at Villa Park. So I suppose we've been heading in this direction, but I agree with most of your callers, and you too, obviously. The third round would have been a bit more logical. And now the winter break, which was so championed for the Premier League clubs in January, that's been a casualty of this as well. So priorities seem to change from time to time. I just feel that if you chip away at the bottom of a pyramid, you won't have a structure at all sooner rather than later. And that seems to me what's happening. Of course, I'm a traditionalist. I played in the FA Cup in the qualifying rounds. I loved that. You had to sign a special form to be eligible to play in the FA Cup. Charlie knows about the non-league stuff.
Yeah.
Actually, we played Watford at Woking in the third round in 2019, and on the way through, we did win at Torquay, but it wasn't a replay. It wasn't. But the challenge is to raise money for lower down the pyramid. Of course, it's a responsibility for the clubs themselves. They can't rely on handouts or a system that suits them. But this was one way to, as you said earlier, to increase the interest in a club because, it might only be the first round proper, but it's going to get some attention. And I just wonder, another point of view, what are the broadcasters saying about this? Yeah. I mean, the replay dates were there first, second, third and fourth rounds. Aren't contracts in place where those fixtures are guaranteed? And that's for scheduled fixtures people are paying for that they might not be able to get or won't be able to get now if this goes through. I'm pleased to hear that the EFL are questioning it. I'm not against change because we have to move with the times, and UEFA seem to be driving this with the expanded Champions League format, although we've just had an amazing round of quarterfinals in the old format, which you wonder how you can better that, but that's a story for another day. No, it is disappointing. We have to move with the times, but sometimes we seem to be moved rather than move ourselves.
And I'm just wondering, how would you think the clubs that you work with over the years, National League and around National League, how do you think they'll be feeling today around this announcement? And I'm also interested to know that there's going to be an increased amount of money. They've scrapped the replays, but the FA say there will be more money going to the clubs into grassroots, which is It's one of those sort of phrases you don't quite know. I just wonder how that money gets given to the clubs. Is it given out sort of equally, or do they have to apply for grants if there's specific things they want to do? Martin, do you have experience of that?
I think there have been grants by the Football Foundation and organisations like that, but the thrill of doing it on the pitch, it was wonderful. I mean, my two worlds collided in January 2019. We played a Premier League team at home. It was live on a rival channel. I was Sky Sports commentator at the time. It was live on TNT. We filled the ground, and people did come back. We played again the following Tuesday night or Wednesday night, I think it was, because we played on the Sunday. And there were more people coming to that because we gave a good account of ourselves in the match. And it is something. It's budgeted into the non-league clubs and the lower division clubs. Some don't budget it in; they don't expect to have a run. But if you hope to get through 2 or 3 rounds, if the prize money is going up, I suppose it doesn't matter whether you get there via a straight game, a one-round game, or via a replay. The incentive is there, and I hope the prize money does go up. But slightly in contrast to the Premier League not willing to contribute at the moment, I'm sure they will do. To be fair, I think it's politics more than anything else. But there is a bit of an impasse on the hand downs to the EFL and beyond. Yeah. So it's a strange time, but what it does come, I like to be positive, guys, and what it does come is that the massive interest in our game, in the world game, and the wonderful game, the beautiful game. And people want more and more and more, and they obviously want more and more of the elite stuff. Now they're going to sacrifice an FA Cup replay or two for more European football, maybe. And maybe that's the demand. Sometimes it's hard to do it, but to look through at the system through young eyes. This is the TikTok generation, isn't it? It's not the 39 steps up to hold up the FA Cup, but the live on television, the only game of the year that I grew up into.
But Martin, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. The reaction today to this announcement, the reaction to the European Super League, I think when it comes down to it, fans do care about the pyramid. They do care about the structure of the game. Even though they may be elitist in the way they watch their football. They may be watching a Premier League side every week, but generally when push comes to shove, they love the tradition and they love the fact that we do have this structure. And I think very, very few people have sided with the FA today. They feel this is wrong.
I think the FA have been somewhat corralled into this.
Yeah.
And I would add to you, most of my broadcasts now, as you know, are world feeds, and so I get a lot of feedback from around the world. And the FA Cup is cherished all around the globe. And you get people coming into our football, coaches and players going, actually, I love English football because I watched the FA Cup as a kid, and I can't ever hear anything said against it. Of course, it has to fight for its place in the calendar, but I don't think it's being put up. There's not much backing for this particular fight with this kind of announcement, really.
Absolutely. Martin, really appreciate you joining us. Thanks ever so much.
Pleasure. Good luck, guys.
Take care. See you soon. Martin Tyler there.
The trouble with money trickling down, Paul, is we know it doesn't trickle down. It doesn't happen.
No.
They've tried that before. They tried that with the Premier League now, trickling down the pyramid. It doesn't trickle down. The thing is with this, it is something definite that clubs can do.
It's an instant hit that you
win a game, or get a replay of a game, and it's definite money.
Yeah.
So
I mean, look, as Martin said, the prize money will go up, but it's the knock-on effect of a cup run.
Yeah.
For example, you can have a cup run, and it may be if you play one game against a big side, you may get knocked out, and that's the end of that. But if you do get a replay, it's the notoriety of that, isn't it? If you are going to Anfield or you're going to the Emirates or somewhere like that. And then even people in the local area thinking, I'd forgotten we had a local club.
A lot of kids' first games will be FA Cup games.
I mean, that Maidstone
keep
Cup
you for life.
That Maidstone Cup run.
Yeah.
Suddenly, kids that would have been sort of Chelsea fans or Arsenal fans or whatever,
they're suddenly Maidstone fans.
Yeah, they've got pride in being mates, and so that's years and years of revenue. Years and years, and
lifetime.
Exactly. So it's the knock-on effect sometimes of. At that level, I don't think anybody's particularly railing from the third round. Some people are, understandably, and you could have made a case for that. But from the first round, certainly with the reasons, I can't believe the FA have not done a press conference, and they're not going to they're not going to front up and explain some of this stuff because people have questions. A lot of the listeners have questions today. But just to stick a statement out and then not attempt to stand this up, to say we've cancelled every replay from the first round because of the expanded European club competitions. As I said, they've done it with their arm up their back, as Martin said there, from the Premier League who are calling the shots.
I do wonder if they go worst case scenario first and then they can wind back 2 third rounds. I don't know if they'll do that.
I mean, look, the FA already, as we've said, with a lot of things they've done with this competition have eroded some of its magic. So I think this just sort of leans into that a bit, which is a great shame. Let us know what you think. Talksport.com, text 81089, tweet TSH&J 03717 223344 to get in touch this afternoon. Alex Horne is again. He's involved with Chesham.
Yeah, very much so.
He's, apart from being the co-host of Taskmaster and a fine comedian, he's a Liverpool fan. We'll talk about the Liverpool header tonight, and we will talk about Chesham's feelings on this because
he's won the league, Paul. They won the league.
He's on the board, isn't he?
They're now in the National League South.
And they probably dream of going. I mean, his dream is probably to go to Anfield, which in the director's box.
Imagine it.
With John Henry.
You are taking that away.
Yeah, well, unless they draw them at Anfield first. But certainly the replay after they've drawn with Liverpool at Chesham. I'm going a bit ahead of myself here.
Paul Hawksbee and Andy Jacobs, Monday to Friday afternoons, 1 till 4. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.